fathers created the Electoral College. It does not matter. They lived in a completely different world than we live in today. They are not here. I'm going to be really clear about this. You need to fucking hear this from me. The founding fathers were not smarter than us. They weren't goddamn emissaries from heaven inspired by the will of God to give us the perfect truth of how to run a country, and we may never ever change it. That's not it's not true, all right? It is hundreds of years later. Society has advanced since then. Science has advanced. Political science has become a field that we study now, that we can understand. We know about things like first past the post voting always resulting in a two-party system that's deleterious to democracy, and ranked choice being a more optimal way to cast votes. We know that. They didn't know that because guess what? Research has been done. Shit has been uncovered. You know what I mean? We have learned and grown as a species. And guess what? Those guys back then were like the only people, the only reason they were running the country was they were the only people who had educations. Most people were farmers, laborers, people like that. These guys were the fucking landed aristocracy who were able to get a college education and even like talk about how the government should be run. So they were the best people to do it at the time. But today, the amount of education that we have, right? The amount of like people who are smart and can hold these ideas in their head is massive compared to what it was back then. And we are smarter than they individually were. So the idea that like we need to give a shit about what they wanted as like something that we must never deviate from is ludicrous. We have the same power that they did back then to decide our own destinies. Like, the founding fathers didn't sit around going, well, the king of England, the ancient king of England, decided that we should be ruled by them for all time and we cannot ever change that, right? No, they said, hold on a second. We live in a modern society. We live in our own world. We can make our own choices about how we should govern our affairs. Let's go ahead and do it. And they came up with something better than what existed. We can do the same fucking thing today. We can say, hold on a second. These founding fathers guys, they had a bunch of good ideas. They also had a bunch of shitty ones. A bunch of them were racist, and they made a compromise with slavery, and that's why we had this thing. Maybe we should get rid of it. Maybe we'd be better off. Let's do some research. Oh, turns out we would be? Okay, let's do it. We have that power. We're not bound by the dictates of the past. I believe Thomas Jefferson said himself, the dead have no rights. Thomas Jefferson, the dead have no rights. He did say that. The dead have neither power nor rights over it. I'm correct. Thomas Jefferson himself said it. I Googled it really fast. So just bear that in mind. Next time you hear this argument from authority, this argument that like the founding fathers wanted this or didn't want that, right? First of all, look into the history. Know that it's messy. Know that when someone is making that argument, they're almost always trying to create a simplistic reason for why you should never change anything. But then on top of that, remember, it doesn't fucking matter. You are alive today. They are not. You know what you need better than they do. You are probably better educated. You could be just as smart. And you have the right to determine your own destiny. We all have the right to determine our own destiny. We can say, those founding fathers, great guys, we don't have to fucking do what they say. The end, all right? Woof, woof.